You're on.
You ready? Okay. I'm Kenny Feltz, and this will be my Instructor 1 project. So to start off, I'm going to get my lesson plan laid out. And then I'm also going to get my class sign-in sheet for my training record.
Biggest sport in the world. They're canceling all their games this weekend. Every team has been an outbreak of COVID. All these teams have 10, 15.
And I also have my skill sheets whenever we do our hands-on training.
Everything up to date. And like half of them COVID.
And I will get my test ready. To make sure my tables are all clean, clear, free of any distractions. And now make sure my seating will be adequate for the number of students. I have between 5 and 8 students. Now that I have my classroom set up, I will bring out my PowerPoint and get it ready. And once I get my PowerPoint set up, I will also make sure the temperature is at a comfortable position and the lighting. Make sure it's not going to interfere with the PowerPoint presentation. Okay, turn my TV on. TV is already on. So I'm going to scan through my PowerPoint to make sure that everything's going to work correctly. And I'm also checking, make sure there's nothing misspelled as well. At the end of my PowerPoint, I do have 2 videos, so I'm going to check and make sure they will work.
That's what I'm saying, me and John both read number 2.
And I still leave the ones.
I'm trying to remember all that.
You're not a real farmer unless you get a reverse leg. You ain't never been speared in your life when you've done a reverse leg.
Made your first layout.
Yeah,
And it appears that my 2 videos in the slideshow will not work on this computer. I'm having some issues with something on the software itself. So what I'll do is open up
Scariest I've ever been.
Google to YouTube, and that way I have my videos
There by Jackson Dock.
ready to go after this PowerPoint presentation.
And just as I got to the hydrant, the last couple of drops.
You had nowhere else to go, man. That was the only hydrant.
Sometimes it's bad to go and see the space forward.
Must have screened it.
Lloyd Lane went for a real beach ride with me.
Is it still recording?
Yes.
I've never rode. I drove with Travis one time. And that was like doing my ride along.
I do there. I don't know why I did.
It's like, hey, bud, nobody's trying to stay
And make sure my video will play, and make sure the sound is adequate as well for it. Make sure this is the correct video.
Now we'll demonstrate a 2-person 24-foot extension ladder using a beam raise. Beam ladder. Ready, lift.
Video worked. So now I've got one more video to link in. I'll make sure this one plays and it's what I need. Videos looks like it's going to work just fine as well. Okay, so I've got my PowerPoint presentation set up, and I have my 2 videos pulled up on my web browser since they did not work in my PowerPoint. So my my next step now will be to set up my practical evolution. So now we can go outside. I'll have a firefighter help me get the ladder off the truck, and we'll get everything set up outside. Okay, so now I'm going to take our truck 11, pull it outside. That way we have room in the engine bay to do our skills. Since we have inclement weather outside, weather's not cooperating, so we're going to have to make do for what we have inside. Now I'm going to pull a ladder off of our reserve truck. So I'm going to have to start it up so I can lower the mechanical ladder rack on it. Grab the 24-foot extension ladder. Right here, since I have the ladder off, I'm going to put the roof ladder back on the truck and raise the ladder rack so nobody walks into it. Now that I have my ladder ready to go, I'm going to get the cleaning supplies that I will need for the cleaning, inspection, and maintaining of the ladder. I'm going to grab a bucket so I can put soap in it. I'm going to have to make do with the mop bucket today. detergent, which Dawn works good at cutting dirt and grime off the ladders. And then I've also got a soft bristle brush. And then we'll use a water hose as well whenever we clean. I'm not gonna get that out just yet until we get done with raising the ladder. That way there's no extra obstacles in the floor to trip over. I'm actually gonna set this off to the side as well to keep it out of the way, along with any other debris. I'm gonna move some of this exercise equipment out of the way to give us ample room to raise the ladder. Then this will conclude my setup for the practical skills.
How many you got back there is my question.
Everybody.
Just need to count.
You. You got a test.
I'll take one.
How much you like?
One of the red ones. No pressure on you. At least $20 a month.
Who?
He takes like $3.10 a pop.
How's everybody doing today?
Great, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. You guys, well, I got a roster on the table if you guys don't mind signing in. That way I know who's here.
There you go, sir. You need a seat.
No, I'm fine, thank
Can you sit here then? Is that all right?
Yeah, sure. Can everybody see the TV okay?
Sir.
Yes, sir. It's gonna be that loud.
No food or drinks?
I hadn't heard that yet.
We'll let everybody get signed in real quick. So today we are going to be talking about ground ladders, and particularly a 24-foot extension ladder, a 2-man carry, and a 2-man raise, either beam raise or flat raise, and then also the cleaning, inspection, and maintaining of a ground ladder as well. Have a short presentation on PowerPoint, and then we will go out to the engine bays and do a hands-on training, which will require bunker gear, helmet, gloves. Just work gloves will be fine. And then we will take a small written test as well at the very end. Does anybody have any questions before we get started? My name is Kenny Phelps, I haven't told you already. And then facilities, we have a bathroom right here, we have another one in the living quarters as well, and we have exits all around the building. Everybody had a chance to sign in?
Stacy.
Right.
Alright, so while you guys are finishing up that, we'll go ahead and start. So like I said, everything's on, today's presentation is on ground ladders. So the first objective, we're going to identify the parts of the ladder. Now today's, we will be going over a 24-foot extension ladder in particular, but I also have a slide to show you some differences between single ladders, roof ladder, and a 24-foot extension. So as you can see, single ladders just consists of 2 beams and rungs, and the main difference between it and roof ladders is going to be the hooks. We still have butt spurs on the very end of it, and they will have heat sensors as well. So I know this is a little bit hard to see on here, but this is going to be the main components of an extension ladder. So you have the bed section, which is going to be your base section, which is going to be the widest part of your ladder, and then we've got our fly section, which is the section that does extend. The longer the length of the ladder, they can have 1 fly, some can even have 2 flies. You also have the halyard, which is what you'll grab to raise the ladder. And if you get multiple sections, multiple flies on a ladder, you could also have a halyard cable to raise the tip of the ladder as well. You have foot pads. Your extension ladder could either have a foot pad or it can have a spur. I believe all of our ladders that we have a spur on the extension ladders, except our attic ladders, and they have foot pads. You'll have your pulleys as well, is what your halyard will run in. And then you got the bed section here, then you've got your base, then you've got your tip. Does anybody have any questions so far? Okay. One other thing, you have your ladder balls. That's what will allow your fly section to lock into your bed when you do raising. So can anybody tell me a few components that your
Fly
extension
section.
ladder has?
Fly section.
Good fly, that's great. Anything else?
Pulleys.
So this next objective, we're going to start off with the process of the cleaning, inspection, and then maintaining the ladder. So during your inspection, you're going to cover all your parts of your ladder. You're going to look at your pulleys, your halyard, the ladder blocks, your guides, everything that you can. Make sure your rungs are tight. You're going to look for any kind of excess wear. If you get a bunch of dirt buildup on your ladder, especially your guides on your fly section, over a period of time that could rub the ladder and cause excess wear to where your ladder could fail. Or if you have a bunch of mud in the paws of your ladder blocks, they may not work right. And if your paws don't lock in correctly, your ladder could collapse on you. Then we will also inspect and per our SOPs. So when we inspect our ladders, we need to inspect them after each use and on a monthly basis. So being in the fire service, we are fairly rough on tools. And so we need to, after we use our tools, we need to make sure we inspect them. If you throw a ladder up against the house that's in front of a window with high heat, you want to make sure that ladder is going to be inspected, make sure it doesn't have any heat damage or any other damage. If we haven't used them for a while, we want to make sure we check them on a monthly basis. You never know when somebody may have used it without you knowing, so you check as something may be broke. So while you're inspecting your ladders, all of our ladders have a heat sensor on them. They are preset at 300 degrees, and they should have an expiration date as well. They should be on the very ends of the ladder. If you find any blisters, any warping, that could be an indication of high heat. Fiberglass ladders, they can be discolored, and those will warp when they get hot. They can flex, but we don't have any fiberglass on our trucks. So while you're inspecting, check your rungs for damage or wear. Make sure they're tight. If you have a loose rung, then you may have a rivet or a bolt that's come loose. You want to make sure that gets repaired. Look for any cracks or defects in the welds. We're rough on these ladders, so if you notice a broken weld, we definitely don't want to use that. We'll take it out of service. Any cracks and splintering, That's gonna be more for a wooden ladder. You know, those are used over the West Coast. We don't have any wood ladders around here. Any deformities as well, we can indicate, you know, high loading, being dropped, or high heat. Then areas worn from vibrations. You know, most of our trucks have mechanical racks on the side. You know, they sit up there on them aluminum pads, and they can rub wear spots in the ladders as well. So another note, we need to make sure we replace our heat sensors when the expiration date is reached. I believe those are replaced every year whenever we do our service testing. You know, for wooden ladders, I mean, we don't use them around here, but if we did, you know, make sure you don't tighten your bolts so tight that they crush the wood. And then any ladder that's been subjected to direct flame, they need to be service tested and inspected to make sure there hasn't been a failure on those. Okay, so when you're inspecting your ladder, if you do find any damage, what's the first thing we should do?
Remove it from service.
Absolutely. So we want to remove that from service, and then we need to inspect that, clean it, make sure that it is safe to use as well. So if we have something suspected of that, we need to have a repair technician come in and service test it to make sure it's still safe. Okay, so on your markings of your ladder, they should have a designated length within 12 inches of the tip or the butt. You should have a manufacturer's nameplate. They can have an apparatus designation, which apparatus they need to go to, or inventory numbers. Some could have any kind of reflective tape on the ends. Some of them can be painted, but you can only have them painted 18 inches from the tip. That's it. Typically, if you find paint on your ladders, it's going to be black on the bottom, maybe a high-vis orange on the top to help see in smoking conditions. And even some of them may have tape lines to where they need to go on the ladder racks to make it easier to line them up, or in the middle for a balancing point. So you're gonna have to have your manufacturer certification labels. You're gonna have, all your ladders need a electrical hazard warning label. All your ladders will conduct electricity, no matter what kind of material they are, especially if they get wet. You know, for us, we're spraying water. If you get water on your ladder touched up against electric, you can get shocked. They're gonna have the ladder positioning label, which you can see in the.
Am I blocking your view?
No. What you can see here, it's gonna tell you where you need to position your ladder and the best angle for it. And they're also gonna have a heat sensor label at the very ends of them. So while you're inspecting them, you know, you're gonna look for heat damage. You're gonna look for corrosion, rust, loose rivets, missing rivets. Make sure the rungs aren't bent, damaged from dropping tools or debris falling on them. Any cracks or bends. And then you want to check your halyard, make sure it's not dry rotted as well. You don't want your halyard to fail while you're raising the ladder, and it's going to come shooting down. So you want to check your pawl assemblies. That's going to be the hook and toe assembly on the ladder, which will keep your fly section locked into your bed section. You want to keep, you know, like I said, keep your halyard cable replaced. If it's worn, you can get it replaced. Make sure it's not damaged or frayed. You don't want that hanging up on your pulley if you're trying to raise it in a hurry. And also make sure the pulleys are turning freely. So if it's not working smooth, it's going to make it a tough time trying to raise that ladder, and it's going to make it harder to do that safely. And also you want to check your ladder guys. Make sure your ladder doesn't come out of track, and it'll help your fly sections move freely as well. So what kind of, somebody asked me, or telling me what kind of differences there are in the ladders between, say, roof ladder, straight ladder, extension.
The roof hooks.
Right. The roof ladder's got the hooks. But what kind of stuff does an extension ladder have versus a roof ladder?
Hook and pulleys and your balls.
Fly section.
What about inspection requirements? Anything different on different types of ladders?
There's some different components.
Wood, making sure, if you did have wood ladders, make sure they're not too tight.
Yep, bolts, make sure your bolts aren't too tight, check your tracking as well. We don't use wood ladders here. So they're used a lot in the West Coast still.
I don't know if it's something you haven't covered yet about like lubricants or something. Do we use like just a regular spray lubricant to?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get in, I believe we'll get in there in just a
Okay.
minute. But yes, you can use a general spray lubricant to lubricate your ball assemblies. Okay, so service testing ladders, before, if we buy a new ladder, we make sure it comes in service tested, and you never know when something may come in bad from the manufacturer. And then we want to do that once a year at least, or if we have any possibilities that they may have been exposed to high heat or rough treatment. We typically do that in the summertime as well. So when you clean your ladders, make sure you got a soft brush, bucket of water, bucket of soap. You're going to use a soft bristle brush, some running water, and you're going to spray off all the loose dirt and grime that you can first. And then use your mild soap, say Dawn, bucket of Dawn water, and a scrub brush will work just fine as well. Get all your tar, grease, soot, anything mud that may be on there that doesn't need to be. So, Mr. Toby, like you said, lubricate according to the manufacturer's recommendations and our SOPs as well. With the lubrication that we use on the trucks will be sufficient for them. So while you are cleaning them, you want to keep an eye out for defects, look for cracks, loose runs, missing parts on there. And then if you do find anything, you want to report that as well per SOPs. Then after you're done, you can wipe it dry after you clean or use it. So after you wipe it dry, then it'd be a good time to spray your lubrication on there. That way you don't wipe it off. So how often should we clean ladders?
After each use or yearly?
That's correct. Yeah, after each use, we'll make sure we clean them, and then we'll inspect them as well. You'll inspect them after each use or monthly, and then service test every year. Anybody have any questions so far? Any other questions? So we'll go over the maintenance first repair. So your maintenance is going to be cleaning your ladder and making sure it's lubricated, halyards good, all your parts are in good working order. All firefighters should be able to perform basic routine maintenance on these ladders. If you don't, by the end of this class, you'll know how. The repair side of it, that's going to be restored or replace what is worn out. That needs to be done by a repair technician, a trained repair technician. Okay, some good key points on your ladder maintenance is to keep them free of moisture, which I know a lot of our apparatus have the ladders on the outside of the truck, so try to keep them inside the base as much as we can. Keep them away from vehicle exhaust or the heat. These new engines run hot. That exhaust could melt the ladder if you're not careful, and it could weaken the structural integrity of it. You don't want that to fail on you when you're on the side of the house. Try to store them where they're not exposed to the weather, which today's inclement weather, and a lot of our trucks have them on the outside. And then, as well as paint for only purposes of identification and visibility. Like I was saying, if you do paint them, you can only do the tip or the butt end of it. Your maximum is 18 inches. So typically you'll do a high vis on the tip and like a black on the bottom. Tanner, you know any general maintenance requirements for the ladders?
Maintenance wise, keep it clean, lubricated if needed, make sure there's no loose rivets or the halyards in working condition.
Sure. Anybody have any questions, anything to add yet? No? All right. So now we're gonna learn some safe practices for the ladders, carrying, raising as well. So some good guidelines to make sure you have good upper body strength. Ladders are very heavy, especially when we have our turnout gear on. It's just added weight. So being in good physical shape will help you be able to throw that ladder up like we need to. We need to make sure you operate according to our department SOPs. And you always wear your full PPE when working with ladders. You wear bunker pants, coat, especially helmet and gloves. If you drop the ladder or if you're carrying it and hit somebody, if they're not wearing PPE, they could be hurt. Make sure you use the correct ladder as well for the assignment. You don't want to go grab the roof ladder if you need to go up 20 feet. Your ladder's going to be short. Like I said, use your leg muscles, not your back. You do not want a lower back injury. Try to use the adequate number of firefighters. Today, we will be going over 2 firefighter carry and raise, which I know a lot of times that we just single do it. Singly carry and raise, but today we'll be going over 2. Anytime you can do 2 firefighters or more, it's gonna be a lot easier, be a lot less physical stress on you. You'll see this emphasized in this PowerPoint is make sure you do not raise a ladder within 10 feet of any power lines. Okay? You could get arcing off of those. You're during training, you know, if you're climbing, ascending and descending a ladder, you want to try to anchor at the tip or the foot if possible. If you raise your ladder up against a balcony railing, you can take a piece of webbing or a piece of rope you can tie off your ladder tip to keep that from moving around on you. Or if you have a railing at the foot, you can tie off that to help keep it from kicking out as well. If you don't have anything there, you could also drive your halligan into the ground. You can tie off the halligan. Anything you can to help secure that ladder. When you are extending and retracting, make sure you grab the beams. Don't grab the rungs. In case something drops, you don't want your hands in the way. You could lose a finger or break an arm or hands as well. And as far as the maintenance, making sure your paws are working right. You want to make sure they seat over the rungs whenever you get to the desired height. If you have one hanging up, only one working, you're going to increase your chances of getting hurt when that ladder collapsing on you as climbing. So before you climb it, make sure it's stable. You want to have it at the proper climbing angle, which is going to be about 75 degrees, 4-to-1 ratio. You don't want to climb up a ladder that's unstable, that's already moving around. It's just going to increase your chance of getting hurt. If you have to move a ladder sideways, so you put it up against the building and you need to move it over 3 or 4 feet, you just have to be careful with doing that. Try to use 2 people if you can. If not, you want to make small movements at a time by sliding the top of your ladder over just a little bit and moving your butt. Just walk it over to where you need it. Try not to go a real long distance as well. When you climb it, be smooth. Our gear's heavy. Normally we're in a rush when we climb it. But try to be smooth and rhythmic. That'll help keep that ladder from bouncing on you. And then you never want to overload the ladder. Typical rule of thumb is 1 firefighter per section. When you're working from the ladder, you want to use a leg lock or a safety belt. Does anybody not know what a leg lock is on working from a ladder? Everybody know how to perform that maneuver on leg lock? And if you need to reposition your ladder, only do so when ordered. If you need to move it, if you think it needs to be moved, you can contact your incident command and make sure it's the right choice to move it. You can use your ladders for the intended purposes only. Don't use them for what they're not designed for. Like I said, you want to inspect them after every call. When you get back, if you use that ladder, take it off the truck, make sure it's clean, and inspect it. Then you need to secure it. If it's going to be stationary for a while, not being used, do your best to secure it. That way it can't get knocked over. So there's another warning here. Just make sure you keep your ladders away from the electricity. They will conduct and you will get electrocuted. And also sliding down the ladder, even during an emergency, head first or feet first, can be dangerous. I know in an emergency situation, you're going to do what you got to do. However, we want to refrain from that if all possible. Okay. So when you're lifting and lowering the ladders, you want to keep your movements smooth. You want to use teamwork, good communication. You want to have the right number of firefighters to lift for the job. Lift with your knees and legs, not your back. Okay. You want to lift in unison, so teamwork, communication. So typically your guy that's going to be at the butt of the ladder is going to be the one in charge. He's the one that you'll walk with the butt first. He's going to be the guy that can see everything. That way you don't walk into any obstructions or walk over any kind of tripping hazard as well. We got 10 guidelines for ladder safety. Somebody's named you a few of them.
Watch out for electric lines.
Yep, see, that's heavily emphasized in here. Water and electric and metal ladders do not go together.
Proper lifting.
Lift your
Tie it,
legs.
tie it off if you're gonna be going from, walk away
Right.
from it.
Yep.
No more than two guys every 10, or one guy every 10 feet.
That's great. Say no more than one person per section. All right, you can see we have more about electric, it's heavily emphasized in this PowerPoint. So when you're walking to place your ladder, make sure you check your overhead obstructions, looking for wires and equipment. Here in our town, we have a lot of electric wires running everywhere, so we need to make sure we check for that. That way we don't accidentally lift up a ladder into a wire in the middle of the night. As you're walking, make sure you look ahead of you, look above, but right before you raise the ladder, double check, make sure you don't see something you missed the first time. And keep at least 10 foot away. There's gonna be a circle of safety. You hear that several times on apparatus as well as ladders. Make sure everything around you is safe before you're ready. So if we do have electrical obstacles, or even any kind of obstacle, this right here would work just fine for you. Instead of raising perpendicular to a building, you may need to run parallel to it, do a modified raise. Whatever you need to do to get that ladder up safely. Okay? Does everybody understand this diagram? Yes. As you can see here on the right side, well, they're doing a beam raise there. On the one on the left, they're doing a flat raise. So there's several different ways to do it. Just remember, all ladders will conduct electricity, okay? Even no matter what their material is, especially if they're wet. So when you do raise a ladder, you need to pay attention to the position of the fly section. Your fly section is what raises from the bed. Most of your metal and fiberglass ladders are designed to have the fly section on the outside, and most of your wood ladders are designed to raise them on the inside of it. You need to consult with the manufacturer's recommendations on the ladder to make sure that holds true, but typically your metal, your fly will be out. So when you do raise your ladder, you've got extra rope hanging there, which is the halyard. You want to make sure you secure that. Simple clove, take up your slack, simple clove hits around the rung, tie it off with an overhand safety knot as well. And that will help keep your halyard tied up and out of the way. That way you don't trip on it. The last thing you want to do is get your boot caught in halyard as you're climbing or descending and trip and fall off that ladder. So how can you avoid electrical hazards when you're raising the ladder?
Look up.
It's simple as that. Just pay attention to where you're raising it. And we just went over the fly section of a metal or fiberglass ladder should be out. If you're not sure, you always need to look back to the manufacturer's recommendations to make sure that that's what it is. So we will describe the process of carrying the ladder. So when you're removing the ladders from the apparatus, typically your pumpers, you can have 1 or 2 firefighters. Aerial's may take more. For our ladder truck, we keep a 24-foot ladder, so typically 1 person or 2 could remove it from that. You get into our tower truck, you've got 35, 45-foot ladders. Those are heavy enough, they're gonna require 3 to 4 guys on that. So when you're selecting the right ladder, typically your incident command is gonna tell you which ladder to grab, but if you're instructed to grab a ladder without knowing or being told which one to grab, you need to be able to look at your building and make that judgment on what length you need. I believe all of our trucks have 14 or 16-foot roof ladder and 24-foot extension on all of our front lines. So if we need anything more than that, we'd have to probably use the ladder truck. So if we're doing roof ops, if you got a couple guys on the roof venting, we need to make sure you have 2 ladders. They need to be opposite sides of each other. That way, if you're venting and you get trapped from the other ladder, you've got a means of escape. You don't want to have the roof collapse on you and you have nowhere to go. You need to always think about safety on that. So this little table here is going to kind of give you an estimation of how high things are. So your first story roof's typically between 16 20 feet. The ladder, 24-foot ladder can get them. Your second story window is going to be 20 to 28 feet. Obviously you're going to need a ladder, probably a 35-foot ladder to help reach that. And it goes, you can read the tables there as well. So on your lengths of your ladders, so your designated length, so the total length of your single section and the maximum extended length of an extension ladder, that's gonna be your designated length. It's not the reach of it. So on your single ladders, roof ladders and folding ladders, the designated length is going to be equal to the measured length as well. So if you get a 16-foot roof ladder, it's gonna be a 16-foot ladder. Extension ladders, they could have as much as 6 inches less than your designated length. So selecting the correct ladder. So if you're working from a roof, if you're gonna throw a ladder on the side of the roof, you wanna make sure you have make sure that ladder has enough rungs to go 3 to 5 rungs above your roof line. That's gonna give you a safe exit off that ladder and give you enough ladder to work with, climbing off and on of it. If you're gonna use it for ventilation, you wanna make sure it is long enough to reach the top of the window. And make sure you put that ladder on the upwind side of that window. That way you're not trying to do all the smoke pushing against you. Then if you have a rescue, you wanna make sure the ladder can reach just the bottom of the window sill. And if you have a big enough window for a rescue, you can actually protrude that ladder into the window if it is large enough to do so. Which I don't know if we have any houses around here that have windows big enough to do that, but that is an option. So parapet walls, if you encounter that here in town, I don't know if we have any more here in town or not. Downtown area we do.
We do.
So everybody know what a parapet wall is?
We have lots of them.
So it's just gonna be the wall that extends past the roof line. So if you get something more than 6 foot, you may need another ladder for that. I'm not a tall guy. So something even shorter than 6 foot, I'd probably have another ladder to reach that rooftop safely. So a good roof ladder or a single ladder will work good for that. You can put next to your extension ladder to climb over. So your working heights versus designated length height. So on your extension ladders, until you get up to 40 foot, you're only gonna lose 1 foot of working height off of designated length. Once you go past 40 foot, you're gonna lose 2 feet. So an example, if you have a 14-foot ladder and you set it up at the proper angle, which is 75 degrees, you're gonna lose 1 foot of reach on that. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
So how could you determine the appropriate size ground ladder?
Your height of your building.
Just look at the height of your building and you go to judge. What should be right there. So as far as removing the ladders from the apparatus, this is a diagram that kind of shows you in general how they can be stored. We have the top left corner vertical exterior rack, which I believe our engine 12 and engine 9 has that. Your horizontal interior is going to be ladder truck, and I think towers that way.
Yes.
And then 15, 16, and 7 have your mechanical racks on the side as well. I don't think we have anything with the vertical interior. That's going to be the ways that ladders are stored on the apparatus. So some safety considerations. Make sure you avoid obstructions, use situational awareness, watch out for hoses laying on the ground, check your terrain, make sure you don't have a bunch of stairs you gotta climb down, legs. Don't be bending with your back. And then you say look ahead for people, trip hazards, fans, hoses, stairs, ditches. We have a lot of ditches in this area of town that you have to walk around, so make sure you keep a heads up awareness on that. And then using your appropriate number of people. Like I said, single ladder, roof ladder, 1 firefighter can carry that. But once you start getting the extension ladders, the weight increases, the length increases, and it's more people is easier. Typically your 24-foot extension ladder, 1 person can get that, but it's a lot easier too. the longer the length of the ladder, the more people it's gonna take. You can do it safely. Safety is the number one key here. If we don't put it up safely, we get hurt, then we can't do our job. Like I said before, make sure you work as a team and communicate. Okay? Identify your team leader, which typically, when your two guys are carrying that ladder, the guy at the butt end of the ladder is gonna be your leader. He's gonna have all the commands, tell you which way to go. He's your eyes, he can see what's coming up. When you carry your roof ladders, make sure you carry those with the hooks closed, because you don't want to go by and snag somebody with a sharp hook. So, and also carry with your butt ends first. If you're carrying a single firefighter, you can see a picture there. Carry your butt end down. That way it doesn't block your visibility and helps with stability as well. And if you do hit somebody, you're gonna hit them in the torso and not in the head. So this one here goes over one firefighter carry. Even though we're gonna practice two today. Like we just said, make sure you carry the tip point down. That way, if you do strike somebody, you can strike in the torso, not the head. It didn't really go into 3-person, but if we do have longer ladders here on the department. So if you do have 3 people, you'll have to carry that. You'll have one person on each end and one in the middle supporting the beam as well. So on this objective, we will describe the procedures for placing the ground ladder, how we're going to do that. So, as I said, observe and communicate. Okay, make sure you look for overhead obstructions, electrical wires, check your ground conditions. Right now it's raining, so we're going to deal with mud if we get on the fire ground, slippery conditions. Look for stairs, ditches, like we said before. Make sure your structural integrity of your building's good. You don't want to put a ladder up against the wall. It looks like it's fixing to collapse. Check your wind speed. If it's high winds, you may have to look at an alternate place of putting your ladder up. That way you don't take a chance on blowing you off the side of the house. Try to keep that wind at your back if you can. That way it keeps you up against the house. Make sure you choose the right ladder. You don't want to grab the wrong ladder and come up short and have to go back in another one. Look for your structure features of the building. Make sure you don't have any kind of a facade or window, like a marquee over a window. I'm not sure what it's called, but make sure nothing's going to be in your way as well. Like I said, make sure you position it for the intended use and then place it at the proper distance from the building. 4-to-1 ratio, 75-degree angle. And that'll get you a good climb angle. The easiest way to do it is put your toes at the butt of the ladder, grab out a rung straight in front of you, shoulder level, rest your palms on it. That's going to give you a quick guide to setting it at the proper angle. So when you're placing for ventilation and rescue, ventilation, you always want to be on the upwind side of it. You don't want to go on the downwind where you break a window, you get that smoke in your face. Stay on the upwind of it, put your tip even with the top of the window. If you need to, you can also use that same technique for narrow windows. Go to the side of it. That may help you get in and out of a narrow window if possible. If you're going to do a rescue, you want to put your ladder tip right there at the bottom of the window sill. If you have any sills that stick out from the house, try to wedge it up in there. That'll help with your ladder stability as well. Keep that from rocking back and forth. Because you're gonna have, if you do a rescue, you're gonna have extra weight on that ladder, so you want it as stable as possible. And like we talked about a while ago, is if you do have a big enough window where you can project that ladder into the window for rescue, do 2 or 3 rungs into that. I don't know if we have any windows around here big enough for that. So, like we said before, if you're on the roof, you want to have 2 ladders opposite corners of the building. That way you have means of escape if you get trapped, if you have a roof collapse. Avoid placing over windows. Fires are hot, so you get high heat pushing out the window. That could damage your ladder and weaken it as well. Take advantage of the strong points in the building. If you see part of the building that looks stronger than the other, good bracing on it, try to take advantage of that. So you can, if you use a smoke ejector for windows, you can raise that ladder and put it right above the window, but I don't think we have any means here for that. But that could be a possibility if you need to, say if we had an electric fan, you can tie that up on the ladder and point it to a window for an upstairs if you need to help get some fan movement up there. And as we've said before, avoid placing where they could contact overhead obstructions. You don't wanna have cable lines or electric lines, tree limbs. We've got a lot of trees down here just in town. Just make sure you watch where you place those. Does anybody have any questions so far? No, pretty quiet group. Like we said, uneven terrain, we've got a lot of uneven terrain around here. And soft spots have had getting a lot of rain right now, so let's try to make sure your ladder's stable on the ground. Avoid putting them in places traveling in front of doors, even try not to put them in front of windows if possible. High traffic areas on a fire scene, you want to keep those paths open. You don't want to put it in front of the door and have somebody come barreling out that door and knock you off that ladder. So avoid placement in front of doorways especially. Top of sidewalk, elevator trap doors. Does everybody kind of know what those are? Tanner, you know what those are? Okay. You don't want to put that on there and have one of the doors fail, or somebody open a door, push you off the ladder, and you can fall down into a basement somewhere. Then don't place them against unstable surfaces. You don't want to put them up against a wall that's going to look like it's going to collapse on you. That will not be a safe idea or a fun ride if you do that. So on your climbing angle, the distance of your ladder but from the building will establish your angle. So like I said, 4-to-1 ratio is basically 75 degrees. Okay? If you got your ladder too close to the building, what do you guys think could happen?
Tip over
Tip over backwards. Okay. You got the butt of the ladder too far away, what could happen?
Slide out.
You can slide out. Okay, I've done that before. It is not fun. Try to get your, like I said, optimum angle is going to be 75 degrees, but in some instances we're not going to be able to get that because we do have obstacles in the house, so we just got to get as close as we can. That'll maximize the efficiency of that ladder. So you divide the distance of the butt from the building by 4. It's going to give your distance, but so the easiest way to set that up, just like this guy's doing in this picture right here. Put your toes at the bottom of the ladder, rest your hands on that rung, shoulder height, and that's going to give you a good optimum angle right there. And then on the side of your ladder, your manufacturer's label is going to have that label on there to show you how to do it as well. So what factors could affect
Terrain.
terrain?
Power lines.
Power lines, we've heard that a lot.
High traffic areas.
High traffic areas. That's good.
Structure design.
Yeah, structure design, we've got a lot of unique buildings in this area. Trees.
Structure stability. You have a bad spot.
Yeah. If you get a wall that's fixing to collapse, some of these old brick buildings, the brick's not very secure on that, so you want to be careful if you have to throw a ladder up against those.
Police cars.
You have to see stars inside the building, those things have been braced before. Anybody know any locations around here that would present some unique opportunities for raising ladders?
Yeah.
We got
Over here off of Poplar Street, that big house that's got the iron gate around it, and all those trees you have, and it's pretty tight.
This is a hilly area in the country. You're going to be on a hill just about anywhere you go.
Yeah, especially right across Main Street and Round Valley and all that.
All of our power lines downtown you have.
So we got a lot to think about, right, especially in this area.
Buildings downtown.
Yeah, old buildings downtown, because the ones right here across the street, they're collapsing.
Yeah.
So I'd be real hesitant on throwing a ladder up there. So we're just about done, guys, so we're on the presentation. So different ways to secure a ground ladder, we've talked about this a little bit already. So make sure your ladder locks have locked in place when you extend your ladder. So if you have one of the paws that don't come out and lock like it is like it's supposed to, you could have a ladder failure later on that. That's one thing you don't want to do. Make sure you tie your halyard off, so you don't have excess rope hanging around. That you could trip and fall with that. And then make sure you heel and secure the ladder with a rope, if you can, to a stationary object. It's always the best idea to do that if possible. Like I said, you can use railings on the top. I don't know if we have a whole lot of balconies around here, but if you do it against a balcony or a deck, you could use some webbing or rope to attach that top up there. And then if you have nothing on the bottom, drive your halligan in the ground and tie some webbing or rope around that to help keep that bottom from pushing out on you. So when you're heeling a ladder, obviously you want to have firefighters heel the ladder for you, if all possible. Make sure you wear complete PPE. Whoever's at the bottom, make sure you watch for falling objects, whether it's going to be debris from the house, falling tools, mud, dirt, anything like that. And also stay alert for whoever's going up or down that ladder. So when you're heeling that ladder, there's a couple different ways. If you're underneath the ladder, make sure you hold the beams, not the rungs. If you're holding them rungs and whoever's coming down is not paying attention, you could get your fingers stepped on, your fingers or hands broke. Make sure you look forward and don't look up. You got a helmet for a reason, so say somebody's carrying an axe up that ladder and they drop it, you want that to hit your helmet, not your face. Okay? Try to keep your hands about eye level or shoulder, eye level. Lean back into that ladder. This is going to be whenever you're underneath it as well. If you heel it from the outside, just as the picture shows, you can put your feet on the spurs and then hold the beam, push into the building, or you could put a foot on a rung and do the same thing. Our call at AutoZone the other day, we actually used just about all three methods. You had a guy underneath holding it and two guys on the outside. So how you need to stabilize that ladder is going to depend on your floor that you're on. We were on slick floor, so it took 2 to 3 guys to make sure that ladder stayed in place. If you're on a little bit softer ground, it's going to make it easier. But the harder the ground, the easier it is for the ladder to slip out on you. Like I said, tie your ladder into balcony railings if you have to. It's going to help keep that ladder, the tip, from swaying back and forth, or having you push off the building. So what are a couple ways you can secure a ladder?
How you're
Feeling it underneath.
Feeling it?
Tie it off.
Yeah. Okay. Does everybody know basically how to tie one off? The easiest way is take your webbing, keep piece webbing with you, and tie it off the top. So we'll describe some methods for raising and lowering. So the way you raise it is going to depend on the size of it, how many personnel are on scene, and the weather and topography. Okay? So if you had one person on flat ground, could raise a 24-foot extension ladder, but if you're on a hilly terrain, it could take 2 or 3 of you. It's just going to depend on your terrain, your area, and a lot of times how many people we have on scene. So when you do raise your ladder from a carry, it's not necessary to lay it flat on the ground. That's what we're going to do today. But you don't have to sit there and drop it, lay it flat, and raise it. The guy on the butt end of it can set it down, while the guy on the tip, he can hold it. He can roll it to the beam or into a flat raise, and then go from there. You can transition smoothly into that. Okay. So only, like I said, only your butt needs to be on the ground, and it should be smooth. Okay. And here is 2 raises we'll do. Pictures of it. We got a flat raise and a beam raise. Does everybody know the difference in the 2 of them? So, and when you do your flat raise, you have one guy heeling it at the bottom. He's going to put his feet at the rung or on the beams there at the tip. He'll grab a rung and pull back, while the guy on the tip of it will walk underneath it, hand over hand as you raise it. These, if you notice too, these guys are using the sidewalk. It looks like they've got the butt spurs on that concrete. That's going to help them heel that ladder, keep that ladder tip from kicking out as well. And then if you do a beam raise, when we get outside, we can do either or, depending on what you guys want to do there. You'll put the beam up, you'll put the ladder up on its beam, and the guy at the butt will put his foot on the on the tip closest to the firefighter at the tip, and they'll raise it straight. They'll anchor that and pull on it as well. So if you need to pivot it, if you can, try to raise it with your fly out if all possible. If you do need to pivot it, if you do a beam raise or a flat raise that is parallel to the building, you need to pivot with the fly out. Just have to be careful with that. One person can pivot a 20-foot ladder or shorter, but once you get any higher than that, it's going to make it tough. Okay? And if you do pivot parallel to the building, you want to pivot on the beam that's closest to the building. That's just going to save you a lot more movement. If you have to shift the ladder, keep it to short distances. Then also we can, one firefighter can shift up to 20 feet safely by themselves. If you have anything higher than that, you really need to have two guys do that for safety. And we've talked about before, if you do need to slide it, move the tip over a little bit and pick the butt up and slide it over, move it however far you need. So does anybody have any questions? It's pretty well at the end of the slideshow. So how can you move a ladder after it's been placed?
Shift it.
Shift it, so we just covered that, so, yeah, you can shift it, or if you need to pivot it, whatever you need to do there. Just make sure you don't exceed the load capacity of the ladder. It's gonna be one firefighter per section. And then if you're working from it, use a ladder belt or a leg lock. That way you don't fall off the back of that thing. I've got two short videos real quick, and then we'll take a break before we go to our skills. This is just going to be a demonstration of the carry and the raise that we'll do outside. Give you a good visual. This is going to be over a 2-person flat raise. Everybody see that video okay?
Today we'll demonstrate two firefighters placing a 24-foot extension ladder in service using the flat raise. Beam ladder. Ready, lift.
You see how they lifted that right there? That's how we're going to do that. When we got our skills, we'll face towards the tip of the ladder. Then we pick it up, you'll rotate into the ladder. Guy at the heel, he is going to be the leader of them, so that you can see it.
Ready? Ready?
So they didn't set the ladder down all the way and transition from the carry to the raise. When we raise it, the guy on the side of the halyard
Come in.
will
Dogs are locked.
we'll raise it.
Coming down in 3. Keep going. 2. 1 foot and got 4 points.
How's the angle?
Good angle. That guy's gonna tie.
Yeah, we should use a low pitch tie.
If you want the fly out,
That's
you
wrong.
secure it.
Right.
Yeah, they got the ladder backwards.
Yeah, it can, on some of that, it can depend on department SOPs, but.
I was watching
you want-
another video where the guy said that he always does his raises with fly in.
Yeah, there's some departments do that. I think we always do fly out here. We do whatever the manufacturer recommends. I got one more quick video before we take a break. That was a flat raise. We're gonna watch a beam raise, just so you can get a good visual representation of that.
Now we'll demonstrate a 2-person 24-foot extension ladder using a beam raise. Beam ladder. Ready, lift.
If you are carrying it, it's a good idea if you got the tip. If you can reach it, put your hand over the tip. That way if you do hit somebody, you're less likely to get hurt. When you do your beam raise, anchor your foot on the inside of that tip there. Or the other guy pushing should be helpful.
Hit it toward you.
First slideshow, they actually pivoted off the wrong beam. You do the one closest to the building.
Okay, ready to go in? Coming in 3, 2, 1. 4 points. Angle.
The holidays are here at Shoe Carnival.
Anybody have any questions about anything we've covered so far? Nothing? All right, so we'll take about a 10-minute break, then we'll meet up outside the engine bay. When we do that, we'll need bunker pants, coat, helmet, and some work gloves for our skills. Okay, so it's 1:55 now, so we'll meet out there at 2:05.
That's why you learned to go there.
Fire for everybody. That's all.
I was telling Brittany about that. She just died laughing. She's like, "What is serpentine?" I said,
Mama said that's the devil.
That's work gloves on. I just watched this show for the first time.
he liked that one. He stayed up for the whole thing.
He giggled.
Show me your boobies and I like it too.
Josh Mueller. Everybody ready?
So the first thing we're doing is we're doing carry. We don't have much room here, so basically we'll just pick it up, make a little circle by the door, and come back, and we're going to raise the ladder by this axe, a little ladder right here. We'll make sure we're just gonna do a flat raise. It's gonna be the easiest on the flooring. We're just gonna raise it in between these two trusses right here. Do it.
Carry and raise all at the same time.
Yeah, we'll do all one motion. No need to set it down.
Yeah.
Flat and then pick it up. The guy at the butt will just set it down and we'll just transition just do the raise right there. Anybody have any questions about that? So I need a volunteer yet? John?
Go ahead,
I was gonna say, I'll
Go ahead, John.
So we'll do a demonstration on what to do, and then everybody else can, all that you guys get a turn, okay? So we're gonna face the tip, we're going ladder on the and when we're ready, we're gonna pick it up with our left hand, we're gonna pivot, and put our right shoulder through it, okay? You ready? Lift. at the butt, and be in charge. If you got long enough arms, you can go to the butt to help protect it. Okay, ready?
Right.
Walk. So as you walk, you want to look for read overhead instructions. Watch your terrain, watch your topography, make sure you don't have any tripping hazards. You got plenty of room to swing out. Okay. If you notice you're coming up on some kind of obstacle, make sure you let the guy in the back know you're his eyes. Okay. So as you walk up to the wherever you're going to throw the ladder, look above, make sure you don't have any obstacles. Okay, I'm going to set the ladder down. Okay, you're going to lay, roll it that way. We're going to have our fly out. Okay. Now go underneath it. Okay. Okay, now, put it all together. Put your hands on the drums. There you go. Now we can raise it. You got the rooms?
Actually, slide over.
Slide over. You ready? Now we were catching on something. Just like that. Yep. Now we're gonna walk closer to the building. Now we can secure our halyard if we need to. This is closed halyard, so it's already pretty well tied off. The easiest way to do that is just glue it back through and tie it quick second out of it. And once you have your ladder set up, you want to check your climbing angle, which is basically going to be your feet. Your feet at the butt, and then have your hands right there on the ladder. That's going to be a proper climbing angle. Okay. Anybody have any questions?
Yes, sir.
No? Okay. So now to take it down, we're just going to do the reverse. Okay. Untie the halyard. Push the ladder screws up. There you go. Throw a big ladder up just enough to clear the Now put it back down and do just the opposite, okay? Hand over hand and walk underneath, okay? Yep. Okay. And you can roll, which way you want to roll it, this way? Now we can set her straight down. And that's how you do that, okay? Does anybody have any questions? Okay. Get two more volunteers to do it?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys can start with flat, or you can start with the beam, it's fine. Okay. You got this, Chris?
I'm gonna go the other way.
All right, you ready? Yep. 1, 2, 3.
Right here. Remember, the guy at the butt's gonna be the one in charge. The gentleman will stay back a little bit. There you go. Make sure you look up overhead for obstacles, electrical lines, make sure the pockets look good.
That's this stuff.
Don't put it in front of the door. Grab the rung and pull. There you go. Hand over hand. Watch for overhead.
short distance. One more. There you go. Now you can set it. The roof height in here is limiting a little bit. Okay.
75 degrees.
75 degrees, yep. There you go. Not much alley there to tie off, it's just close for little ties, so that there you probably wouldn't really worry about it. Okay. You guys have any questions on that?
Sir.
All right. You want to take it down in reverse? Go back, you guys go back underneath it. Around and do it just like you did.
What's that? Right down. You took it down. You took it down.
Good job, guys. Two more volunteers?
That's real jerk.
You already got it.
I know.
Two more? They're going there.
Okay, sir.
So go ahead and flip your ladder up on your beam. Guy at the butt's gonna be the one in charge. Okay?
Gonna lift, throw that in through.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yep.
All right, lift.
Lift the legs. There you go. Now we're gonna go right. Make sure you know out. What all you looking for?
Anything ahead, lines,
Yep.
make sure our feet are good. And once you're far away, make sure that's a chance, just so you can make a joke about it. I said, that's why we way to make sure the tusk over.
Watch your footing, imagination when you guys race it. What's that? You look right
Slick
back.
spot. That is a slick spot here to hit it.
There you go. Teamwork, good communication.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Cancer in that tree.
Is the height difference an issue in an area like this?
In this situation, it's actually helpful.
It worked good for us, sir. You want to go beam raise, or you want to do flat raise?
You guys can go whichever one. It's probably easier. In here's flat raise is probably easier, but if you guys want to demonstrate a beam, go ahead. Beam, fine. Keep your foot planted just like that. Okay, just walk the beam straight up. Help guide it, Austin. There you go, just like it. That's a beam raise. And then you're gonna have when you pivot this side closest to your wall. There you go. Got your fly out. Good job. Okay. For this wall here, I mean, you
normally
shoot
want to
for-
do 3 to 5
Right.
balls, but
with this height here, just if you go up one more rung, that would be sufficient for this heavy lifting. Make sure all your balls caught. Very good. And there's not much out of the way. That's a closed halyard. Okay, put your foot up against the feet. There you go. That'll help keep that ladder kicking out. There you go.
You got 4 points of contact.
Perfect thing. So if you had somebody climbing it, you could have a guy here with the foot on the spur, pushing in, or you could have a guy underneath pulling back.
We could tie it to this rack because it's weighted.
You could. It's weighted, so you could use that to stabilize it. Any questions? No. All right, let's do. Take it down, reverse order. Good one.
I got a question. So if there was a structure or fence or something right here, you could do a beam raise parallel to the building.
Sure. Absolutely. If you had any overhead obstructions, say we were gonna throw the ladder on, let's say this is our A side, this is our B side.
Yeah.
If we were going, step back just a little bit, if we were gonna put our ladder up on this side here, since we have our ceiling trusses in the way,
Yeah.
this would be a good opportunity to do parallel raise on a beam raise.
Yeah.
And then you can pivot once you got it up.
Yeah.
Now lane it over right here. Yeah, you can slow it right there. And that'll give you clearance. Otherwise, the normal ladder you wouldn't be able to stand up on a flat raise.
Yeah.
Good
job,
Last two.
Yep.
I hate that fall that show. It's tough. Height.
You got the butt's gonna be in charge. You don't rotate.
Ready to lift?
Yep. Do communications. There you go. All right.
raises.
There you go.
Construction. Ground. That's overhead. Okay back there?
I'm good.
No obstructions. Watch out for the slick spot. Alright, going down.
Beam or flat?
Flat.
Flat? Yep. It's fly.
Fly out.
Yep. Grab that closer. Yep, cool. Another way you can do it is actually stand on the bottom rung and pull. For this slick floor, you'll need everything. Okay. Raise up one rung. Pull on your right hand. So this light here definitely needs some lubrication. That looks like you're
Good.
So guys, if you did need to shift your ladder, a good way to do it, since we're here, you can leave your butt in place and shift the top over. Let's go T-Toby. Just walk it over if you need, okay? All right, you got any questions? No, sir.
Up.
So what we'll do is we'll lower it back down. Then we'll have you guys extend it out around all the way so we can clean it.
That's why I've got a helmet on, sir.
Hey, it up.
Let's go ahead and extend it all the way out over here if you want to pull in there. Okay. We'll need to pull this extra slack out. How it gets caught like that, it'll get damaged. Huh? Pull the slack out. It's tight. Looks like it's caught around the top down there. Yep, there we go. There you go. Now we can let it fly. Halyard stretched out. Now we stretch this halyard out. We can inspect it. Now we can look at it. What we're looking for on the halyard?
Cuts, nicks,
Right.
dry rot.
Right. What else are we going to inspect on this ladder? Pulley. What we're looking for on that?
Make sure it's moving.
Moving freely. Got balls.
Make sure that the halyard's in the pulley.
Right.
Sides.
Yep.
Guides, make sure there's nothing there, make sure the prongs are good, the rivets. Make sure the rungs.
The heat sticker.
Yep. Make sure we got a heat sticker.
Tight rungs, make sure they're not really very
Right. Oh, yeah. Like there, down your hands and knees, maybe flip this ladder over too, to be able to see other things up. Okay.
Heat to see.
Yep. What's the date on that heat sensor? Make sure you check it. There's the date.
2024 on this one.
There you go. There you go.
I need to know when it was tested last. There's a sticker down here.
Sticker there. Good job. Okay. We can let it fly down. Lay it flat and we'll get the water out of that. If you guys want, you can take your helmet and coat it. Do this. This one here. Clean. Yeah, we'll get that out. Yeah, we're just gonna take our coats off.
brush. Dawn works good. Yeah, totally clear. Good for Dawn, and that's like mild soap. Mild soap, or manufacturer's recommendation. When you get a good bucket of water, then first thing what you want to do, hose it off. Run it access, dirt, mud, grease, operator, clean, all the shit. Trying to spray deep. Make sure you don't have lunch. Make sure you check your balls and make sure there's not a bunch of excess dirt in them. Okay? Keep your balls to do it. You got a bunch of mud buildup, what's going to happen in your balls? You're going to close. You're going to open and close. Yeah. So you're going to build either raised ladder or you're going to keep the raised. You got one that's hanging up and one that's right. You're only going to have open power and you're going to take a chance on the fire from ladder. Spray it off there. How you spray it off visually effective? What we're going to look for visually effective.
We got some cracks, broken lines, it's got some rot.
Correct. Look for oils, anything warps, heat. We check those. And then, once you get all everything, once you get it sprayed off and visually looking at it, you'll go ahead and get your brush, open up, scrub it. I got a little short brush and I want to use this. Use it on the spray.
Toss me that short brush.
Remember, we always work as a team. Once we get it clean, what else we gonna do? Once we're inspecting, what we do?
Same thing we did before.
Yep. You're gonna go through, make sure your rungs, make sure your rungs are tight. Make sure they're not loose. The rivets. Make sure your rivets are tight. If you have a loose rung, that's gonna be an indication that you got a problem, and that fails our alignment. Especially if you're doing a rescue, you're gonna have extra weight on the rung, and fail. We have ladder length designations on this ladder. Post it. How's it running? How you gonna check this? Which run? Either.
I'm on a feel, make sure it's not freezing, it's not
You're
loose.
gonna just grab it, twist. You're gonna twist the motion?
Gonna look for any wear spots, any dark spots.
Yep.
Which is a little bit, no, bit
Broken.
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 It's broken or cracked.
It is. This just CDO, bent back. Bent, broke, cracked. Your rungs get a lot of wear from the paws riding up them, so you definitely want to check those. And then also your fly sticks can get wear from running the ladder guys. If you got a bunch of blood built up in your guys, over time that's going to wear out. That's going to wear the face of your fly. Whatever your manufacturer can recommend you.
I'll spray it off, I'm making sure they did their job.
Well, I think if you look through it.
Looks good. Flip it over to the other side.
Come on, Johnny.
I'm full.
You got the little brush this time. drive the ladder off too? Absolutely, you'll hand drive with Cal, you can let it dirt drive. Try to keep it out sound like you can. Try to keep the ladder safe as best as possible, even though they're on the outside of our structure. We want to minimize the exposure to them. Better be treated as ladders,
Raise it and do this.
You notice on the way to help it drain, or you could. You can turn on the beam if you wanted to get you higher, where you're not bending over. Help drain water out of that beam.
Same that back over there. Get that beam water out.
And you could use it on top of this, never bottom. You can use compressed air if you need, as long as you're following safe practices. Those are all good ideas that you could. Somebody been driving on this thing. So, while you have it up on your feet, while you're driving, you can check your welds for your runs. Make sure you don't see any cracks. Maybe or actually excess welds where sits your ladder at. That'll actually. While you're on the side there.
Nothing today, broken crack. Things tight, don't breathe.
All the heat sensors are good.
All the heat sensors are good.
What's the heat
It's
sensor look like?
that orange thing.
Your little orange sticker on the inside of your beam.
It'll be black.
If it's not red, what's the color change?
Black.
Black. Make sure
I've
that.
sent it.
Where there.
Making sure there's no carbon deposits up top.
Anywhere where you have moving parts. Once you get it dry, you take your lubricant, and you lubricate your ladder balls, the pulley, and even on the inside of your runs where your fly section runs through there. Anything's gonna help somebody do that. This ladder obviously needs to be lubricated, it's stiff trying to raise. Here needs good scrubbing.
Do you lubricate when it's extended or?
It'd be easier to reach all the parts, yes. So if we want to do like that flash on. It'll slide up. The water.
Did you get that off the ladder?
There's the pulley, lubricate your pulley, make sure it's swiveling like it should, as it's swivel. Make sure it's not wore out as well. So, do we have any questions about the ladder?
How often you say we got this again?
After every use, okay? Monthly.
Why we go over the park?
Sure. Alright, so you got the butt of your ladder, okay? You drop the heel of the butt first. Okay, take your run. Got your handle. You got your pulley. You got your dogs or paws. That's what's going to lock the fly station in. And then on the other side, you got your latch shocks. And then you're going to have ladder guides. Which will be the other.
This is the bed.
That's the bed section. This is your fly station. Anybody have any questions?
Where's your blocks at?
The blocks are going to be on the inside of the bed section. It's top. So, any questions on how to raise it, clean it, inspect it, maintain it? So what we're going to do if we find defects in the ladder?
Take it out of service.
How are we going to do that?
Tag it out, report it to our officer.
Tag it out.
Tag it out.
Tag it out, report it to our officer for our department SOPs.
Replace it.
And if something needs to be repaired, what's going to happen?
Certified. Done by a service tech.
Right. Yep. All right, good job. So we can take off our bunker gear, put your boots back on. We'll meet back in the classroom, take a short test. Okay.
Gentlemen? Okay. So we're gonna take a test in a minute once everybody gets back in here. So, everybody have an ink pen?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Fox, Tanner. You got an ink pen, Captain Bell?
I need one.
An ink pen? Go. Wait for the wait for arms to come back in.
Oh, somebody wants some milk.
Gas leak.
Ralston, so station 2, station 1.
Station positive.
You're back on.
All right, fellas, since we're back from our call, everybody did good out there on the skills. So we've got just a short 10 question test. When you get done, just put your name and date on it. 10 points a question. When you get done, just hand it to me, then you can walk back to the living area. And then once everybody's done, I'll grade them, and I will call you guys back one at a time for evaluation, and then we'll be done. Okay? Anybody got any questions so far about the class?
What if we fail?
If you fail, then we'll have to do some retraining. We'll have to do it again with you.
Provide himself free training.
Yep.
Is our evaluation going to be anonymous?
Yes, it will be one-on-one evaluations.
Tanner tips. Brad Jones.
They don't say Tanner Tibbs on the paper.
Everybody writes it on there.
What's the date?
16. 17.
17.
Oh man, don't put 16 goose.
Everybody have an ink
I
pen?
said it with the question mark. Actually, I'm nervous about this.
You guys want, when you're done, you can turn it upside down. Leave it there. Last one.
I missed
Sit here.
I missed number 9.
Yeah, missed one, so. Ready? Okay. So this is just going to go over your test and evaluation for you, and then if you have any feedback from me. So you missed one on your test, which was number 9. Number 9 should have been me.
So I guess at the halfway point.
Yep, at that halfway point. So, other than that, as far as participation during the class and your presentation, you did a good job. Okay. Do you have anything you'd like to add for me?
Good class.
Good job.
Learned a lot.
All right. Appreciate it. Will you send in Andrew Fox, please?
Andrew.
How the crap did you go first?
I do.
Maybe sit down right here, sir. Have any questions for me about the class?
No, sir, it's a good class.
Thank you. Your did Hunter test and outstanding on that. You did good on your skills. I really appreciate that.
Appreciate it, sir.
Any feedback for me on any classes or anything like that?
Did a very good job.
All right.
Very well prepared.
Good job. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We sent in, let's see here, Bueller, please.
Firefighter Bueller. He has stepped out, sir. Would you like somebody else?
Yeah, Miller's fine.
Miller.
Miller, how you doing?
Good, good.
So we're gonna go over your test and a little quick evaluation of the Hunter test. Good job. Do class, do your skills outside. Awesome job. Appreciate that. If you have any kind of feedback for me, evaluating me on my job here.
I thought you did a great job. I think you need to continue doing what you're doing.
All right, man, appreciate it.
Yep.
Get it?
Yep.
All right, man.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Who would you like?
Bueller or Total's fine.
Bueller or Toggle?
Good.
Total, how you doing?
Good, good.
All right, we're doing the test real quick here. Okay, so we missed 3 on your test.
Okay.
So miss number 1, so when the extension ladder's in the bed position, how you should be taught. You have to be on there, don't be taught, that way it doesn't happen. And then you had number 4, you put B instead of D, in order to safety lift the ground ladder. It is important for all firefighters. There's multiple correct answers here.
Okay.
And then, let's see here. Number 7. Tying in a ground ladder involved using a rope or hose tool. You had it right the first time.
Oh, okay.
Change it.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, as far as participation on the fire ground, you did a good job. Do you have any questions for me or anything to add?
No, I don't believe so. I don't think so.
All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Please send the Bueller, please.
Well, you didn't have yours on. You had it hanging.
Bueller?
You like, you got some?
No, I like mine.
No, we got one.
I've never, I don't know
Bueller.
I will say
So I'd like to go to the test real quick. Quick evaluation. So you did on that test. Did a good job. Skills outside. Did a superb job out there. Did everything we needed to do and learn. Do you have anything you could add for me as far as an evaluation for me to make myself better?
It's a good class. Really good presentation time and skills time. It was inside, so that made it nice with the weather and stuff.
Yeah, it was a little tougher with the weather.
You didn't say there wasn't
But
any.
we had to make
You
it
said
work.
we're
I
fine.
think it's still accomplished.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
none that
All right,
exist.
anything else?
I think so. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
Send it, Captain Bill.
All right,
please.
thank you.
All right.
That's county days. It's buddies. Yes, I don't know. Just showed up here.
Where has the lowest is my dinner?
Bill? Look, just real quick, that's one, that's it. You did a good job on everything else. On your skills outside, you did a good job, excellent leader with those guys as well. Do you have anything that you could add for my evaluation?
I think you done a pretty good job.
Anything I
Covered
could
everything
work
pretty
on?
good.
Length of time was good. and
Yeah.
everything?
Explained stuff well.
Do you have any questions about anything else on the what we've learned today?
I don't think so.
All right, well,
Yep.
I appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
Sir, we sent in firefighter arms, please.
Arms?
Yes, sir.
See the last one?
Yeah, arms last one.
That's for last. Never worse. Well, sir, you're the only one that failed.
Everybody did. All right, so-
I want to dispute these.
No.
We didn't cover them.
So you missed two, that was it. You did a good job. Yeah, so ground ladder, on number 2, ground ladder should be serviced, tested at least once a year, and you had C, which is a minor service test, should be done on each week. Yeah, so a lot of times when guys work those out, a lot of times you need to go with your gut. So A, it's gonna be after being subjected to a high heat temperature. So the service test is where you have an outside company come in.
Oh, that's
and
right.
test
That's
them.
what I didn't even see. I didn't
So
do
the
that.
monthly test, or after each use, is gonna be the maintenance side of ours.
Yeah, maintenance.
Okay. And then number 4, in order to safely lift the ladder, it is important to lift on command. There's multiple, on a lot of these questions, there's multiple right answers. You have to pick one that fits best.
All right.
So, you did a good job on your skills. Your presentation, attentive skills, you did good, hands-on part of it. Do you have anything you could add for me as far as an evaluation for me? You think I could do better or worse?
No, you did good, man. I can't think of anything.
All right, appreciate it. All right, thank you.